You think weakness is obvious. A trembling hand, a broken voice, a body that cannot carry its own weight. But the truth is quieter. Weakness often hides in plain sight. It is woven into the fabric of daily life. It lives in the things we do without question. We do not notice it. We even defend it. Until one day, we find our strength has already been drained. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Yet most people surrender that power, not in great battles, not in moments of crisis. They lose it in small, invisible ways, each day, each choice. Consider this. A man can build wealth, but still be weak. He can win arguments, but still be weak. He can project confidence and still be fragile inside. Weakness is not about what the world sees. It is about what quietly controls you without your awareness. Think of the habits you repeat without thought, the distractions you justify, the impulses you never question. They do not strike like a storm. They erode like water on stone, slow, patient, relentless. And when strength is called for, you discover it is no longer there. Epictetus warned, "No man is free who is not master of himself." The same is true of strength. No man is strong who cannot see the ways he is being weakened. This is why the Stoics practiced awareness, not to judge, not to condemn, but to stay awake, because the greatest danger is not the enemy you see. It is the weakness you fail to recognize. In this reflection, we will uncover 7 such forces, not dramatic, not loud, but subtle, hidden in daily life. 7 things that quietly make you weak. 7 things you may be doing without realizing it. As we walk through them, do not rush to defend yourself. Do not say, "That does not apply to me." Observe instead. Ask if the thread is already present in your life. Strength is not built by denial. It is built by seeing clearly, by naming what has power over you, by choosing differently once you see the truth. The Stoics did not fear weakness. They studied it. They faced it without illusion. And by doing so, they became unshakable. So let us begin. Look closely. The first step toward strength is not to lift more, shout louder, or push harder. It is to notice what is quietly holding you down. 1. The habit of complaining. Complaining feels harmless. It slips into conversation, at the office, at the dinner table, in the lines at the store. We complain about traffic, about politics, about co-workers, about the weather. It feels small. It even feels justified. But every complaint is a leak, a slow drain of strength. Because when you complain, you place yourself in the role of the victim. You surrender control. You tell yourself that life has wronged you, that you are powerless until the world changes. Seneca once wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." The same is true with complaints. It is not the hardship itself that makes you weak. It is the craving for things to be easier, smoother, more comfortable. Look closely. Each complaint is an investment. You invest attention, you invest energy, but there is no return. You walk away with less than you had before. Complaining does not solve the problem. It multiplies it. Now you have the obstacle itself and the weight of your own bitterness. The Stoics practiced another path. They trained themselves to see reality without protest, to name things as they are. Cold is cold, traffic is traffic, delay is delay. None of these deserve anger. None of them are personal attacks. They are the fabric of life. So the practice is simple. Observe, accept, then act where you can. If you can change it, change it. If you cannot, conserve your energy. Do not give it away in words that only circle back to you. Ask yourself, how many hours of my life have been lost to repeating the same complaints? How many mornings have begun with sighs instead of decisions? How much strength has slipped away because I chose to curse the obstacle instead of facing it? Complaining feels like release, but it is actually surrender. You release responsibility, you release power, and what returns is not relief, but weakness. Strength begins the moment you close the mouth of complaint and open the mind to response. 2. Seeking approval. One of the deepest forms of weakness is this: to live by the eyes of others, to depend on their praise, to tremble at their judgment. Approval feels like nourishment. It feels like a measure of worth, but it is unstable. It shifts with mood, with fashion, with numbers on a screen. Epictetus warned, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." He understood this truth. The path to strength is often misunderstood. It will not be applauded, at least not right away. Look around. The culture is full of pressure for validation. Every like, every follow, every promotion, every comparison. You post something online and you check the screen again and again, not for the content itself, not for truth, but for approval. And when it does not come, you feel diminished. This is the trap. Your value becomes external. It lives in other people's hands. It rises when they notice you. It falls when they ignore you. But what is strength if it depends on applause? What is dignity if it vanishes with silence? The Stoics taught another way. True value is internal. It is measured by character, by honesty, by integrity, by the quiet knowledge that you are living according to reason. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "Be satisfied with the smallest progress and regard it as no small matter." Notice the shift. Progress, not applause. Excellence, not recognition. Substance, not display. So ask yourself, how much of your life is spent chasing eyes that do not even see you? How much strength is lost in trying to be admired instead of being virtuous? To seek approval is to hand away the steering wheel, to live as a passenger in your own life. Strength begins when you no longer need to be seen, when you act from principle, not from performance, when you know that even if no one claps, the action was right. Because the Stoic does not measure life by the noise around him. He measures it by the order within him. 3. Avoiding discomfort. Most people spend their lives chasing comfort, a softer chair, a faster meal, a smoother path. At first it feels like progress. Technology makes things easier, choices multiply. Convenience becomes a silent god, but what begins as comfort ends as weakness. Because the more you avoid discomfort, the more fragile you become. Every small challenge feels unbearable. Every delay feels like an injustice. Seneca warned his students with a practice. Set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare. Why? Not to punish, not to suffer for its own sake, but to train, to remind the body and the mind, I can endure this. Today, discomfort is almost optional. Fast food at every corner, streaming at every moment, climate control in every space. Life can be engineered to feel smooth, but smoothness does not build strength, it erodes it. You lose resilience, you lose patience, you lose the quiet confidence that you can stand when things get hard. The Stoics understood this danger. They sought voluntary discomfort, cold water, hard beds, simple meals, silence instead of noise. Because strength is not built in the easy chair, it is built in the places you choose to stretch beyond ease. Ask yourself, when was the last time you allowed yourself to be uncomfortable? When was the last time you walked instead of drove, chose silence instead of distraction, fasted instead of indulged? Each time you embrace discomfort, you reclaim freedom, freedom from fear, freedom from dependency, freedom from the illusion that you need more to survive. Avoiding discomfort is not safety, it is surrender. It is handing your strength to circumstance. To step into discomfort willingly is to take it back. It is to say, I can do with less, I can endure more. I am not fragile. The Stoic does not seek pain, he seeks freedom. And freedom begins the moment you stop fearing discomfort. 4. The endless chase of desire. Desire never ends. You satisfy one craving, and another appears. You buy one thing, and soon it feels old. You reach one goal, and the next rises to replace it. At first, desire feels like fuel. It drives ambition. It promises happiness. It whispers, just one more, and you will finally feel complete. But the promise is a lie, because once you reach the finish line, another is drawn further ahead. Desire moves the target every time you think you have arrived. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself. Happiness is not in the next purchase, not in the next title, not in the admiration of strangers. Yet modern life conditions us to chase. Advertisements tell you what you lack. Social media shows you what you do not have. The culture whispers that your worth is measured in more money, more status, more recognition. But the chase weakens you, because each new desire teaches dependence. You tell yourself, I cannot be happy until I have this. And so happiness is always delayed, always conditional. The Stoics saw this trap clearly. They did not reject all desires. They rejected slavery to desire. To want less is not poverty, it is freedom. It is the strength of a person who can say, I already have enough. Ask yourself, how much of your energy is spent chasing what you do not yet own? How many hours of life are consumed by longing for the next upgrade? How often do you mistake wanting for living? Every time you chase without awareness, you hand away strength. You make your peace dependent on something outside your control. True strength is quiet sufficiency, the ability to enjoy what is here, the discipline to say no when the mind says more, the clarity to see that the endless chase is a trap. The Stoic finds contentment not by running faster, but by stepping off the wheel. He stops the chase. He stands still, and in stillness, he discovers freedom. 5. Neglecting reflection. Life today is fast. Emails arrive before dawn. Meetings run late into the night. Deadlines chase each other back to back. The calendar fills, and the phone never rests. In this pace, reflection disappears. You wake, you rush, you work, you scroll, you sleep, then repeat. 1 week melts into another. Months blur, years vanish. Epictetus gave a warning. An unexamined life is no life at all. What does he mean? A life without reflection is not truly lived. It is mechanical, reactive, blind. Neglecting reflection weakens you in silence. Because without it, mistakes repeat. Habits deepen without awareness. You think you are moving forward, but you are only circling. In modern culture, busyness is praised. In America, to say, I am busy, is to prove your importance. Exhaustion becomes a badge of honor. People measure worth in hours worked, not in wisdom gained. But busyness is not strength. It is often distraction. It keeps you from facing the harder question, am I living well? Am I moving toward virtue? Or am I drifting, pushed by noise, carried by momentum? The Stoics lived differently. They practiced reflection daily. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations not for the world, but for himself. Seneca examined his conscience each night before sleep. He would ask, what did I do today? What should I have done? What will I do tomorrow? This was not self-punishment. It was self-clarity, not shame, but guidance, a chance to turn experience into wisdom and mistakes into teachers. The practice is simple but profound. 10 quiet minutes at night. A notebook, a question. Where did I act with reason today? Where did I let passion take the lead? What lesson waits in the events of this day? Try this for 1 week. Write without judgment. Observe yourself as you would a friend, then notice what happens. Patterns reveal themselves, clarity grows, strength returns. Neglecting reflection is to live asleep, even with your eyes open. To practice reflection is to live awake. The Stoic chooses awareness, because only the examined life is a strong life. 6. Reacting without thinking. Weakness often shows itself in speed, not the speed of action, but the speed of reaction. Something happens, and before thought, words spill out. Anger rises, defensiveness takes over. You strike, then regret. This is the mark of a fragile mind. A strong mind does not need to rush. It chooses before it acts. It weighs before it speaks. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Notice his order. Events come first, but strength comes from the pause between event and response. Think of the workplace. A colleague criticizes you in front of others. The weak reaction is instant. You raise your voice, you fight back, or you shut down in silence. Now think of the family. An argument sparks at the dinner table. One harsh word invites another. The room grows heavy with tension, and later, everyone wonders why it escalated so quickly. The truth is simple. The reaction was too fast. The mind never entered the room, only impulse. The Stoic trains for this exact moment, not to suppress emotion, but to master it, to pause, even for 3 seconds. 3 seconds to breathe, 3 seconds to notice, 3 seconds to ask, what is the wise response here? That pause is not weakness, it is strength. Because in those seconds, you reclaim choice. You are no longer a puppet of circumstance, you are the author of your action. Ask yourself, how many regrets in life began with words spoken too soon? How many relationships cracked because of reactions not restrained? How much energy has been wasted repairing what could have been prevented with a pause? Reaction is easy, response is rare. Reaction belongs to impulse, response belongs to reason. The Stoic chooses response, because strength is not proven in volume or speed. It is proven in restraint. It is proven in clarity. It is proven in the quiet space where thought is allowed to lead, to respond, not react. This is the mark of inner strength. 7. Forgetting mortality. The greatest illusion is that we have time. We plan as if life is endless. We postpone joy. We delay gratitude. We act as though tomorrow is guaranteed. But it is not. Each day is borrowed. Each breath is on loan. To forget this is to waste what is most precious. The Stoics practiced a reminder, memento mori. Remember that you will die, not to be morbid, not to despair, but to awaken, to live fully while life is still in your hands. Marcus Aurelius reflected often, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. This is not a threat. It is guidance, a compass pointing back to the present. In modern life, mortality is hidden. We distract ourselves with work. We drown in entertainment. We tell ourselves we will enjoy life later, when things are calmer, when success arrives, when retirement begins. But later is uncertain. Later may never come. This is why forgetting mortality weakens you, because you live as though time is cheap. You trade days for trivialities. You gamble with the only currency that cannot be replaced. The Stoic way is different. It does not chase more time. It honors the time already here. It chooses presence over delay, meaning over distraction, action over excuses. Ask yourself, if this were my last week, would I spend it the same way? Would I waste it on arguments, on scrolling, on endless planning? Or would I live more directly, with more honesty, with more courage? Strength is not pretending life is infinite. Strength is seeing its limits and living within them. Forgetting mortality makes you careless. Remembering it makes you awake. The Stoic does not fear the end. He uses it as a teacher. He learns urgency. He learns gratitude. He learns what truly matters. Memento mori. Remember that you will die. And by remembering, you finally begin to live. The Stoic challenge. We have walked through 7 forces. Not loud, not dramatic, but subtle. Habits so ordinary that most people never question them. Complaining, seeking approval, avoiding discomfort, chasing endless desire, neglecting reflection, reacting without thought, forgetting mortality. Each one seems small, each one feels harmless, yet together they drain the strength of a life. They turn a capable mind into a fragile one. The Stoics remind us that weakness does not come from the blows of fortune alone. It comes from within, from the choices we allow to repeat without resistance, from the patterns we call normal. This is why Marcus Aurelius and Seneca wrote so often about the daily life, not only the battlefield, not only the courtroom or the throne, but the breakfast table, the evening walk, the inner dialogue before sleep. Because strength is not tested only in great crises. It is built or lost in the small hours of ordinary days. Remember this: every weakness is just strength left untrained. The complaint you silence becomes patience. The approval you no longer need becomes confidence. The discomfort you embrace becomes resilience. The desire you restrain becomes freedom. The reflection you practice becomes wisdom. The pause you create becomes self-mastery. The mortality you remember becomes urgency and gratitude. So the challenge is not to fix everything at once. Do not rush to conquer all 7. That itself would be another form of desire, another chase. Instead, choose one weakness you recognize in yourself, one thread you see woven into your days. Watch it closely for 1 week, not to judge, not to condemn, but simply to notice, to wake up to its presence. Awareness itself is strength, because the moment you see clearly, you are no longer a prisoner. You are free to choose differently. Ask yourself tonight, which of the 7 is mine? Then carry that awareness tomorrow, into the office, into the home, into the quiet of your own mind. The Stoic path is not about perfection, it is about persistence. It is about refusing to let weakness remain hidden. It is about training strength until it becomes your nature. You will stumble, you will forget. You will find yourself reacting too quickly, or chasing too much, or neglecting reflection again. That does not matter. What matters is that you return, you notice again, you choose again. This is the practice, this is the discipline, this is the challenge. And so we end with a declaration, not a promise of perfection, not an image of invincibility, but a reminder of resilience. The Stoic is not the one who never falls. He is the one who refuses to stay weak.